You are watching Hot Springs Village Venues.
Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Village Venues. We think today is going to be a special episode. We have Cesar and David, and these guys are from Ouachita Farms, which actually goes by the CBD tasting room at what we call the bottom of the hill. And glad to have them here today. I have intentionally not asked them any questions about what they do and how they do it. I want to hear the whole story. So a tasting room, how did this come up? Whose idea? How did you decide that?
I think it was between David and myself. We originally started up Farmer Blocks, which is Ouachita Farms, and we wanted to set out to grow the cleanest, most organically produced grown hemp here in Arkansas. We want to produce really good medicine for all Arkansans and anybody here in the United States for that matter. And we just set out to produce this flower, and then we went on into the CBD tasting room, and we did a little bit of seed dealing. We licensed up with both the grower's license, seed distribution license, as well as a processing license.
Okay, now hang on. So David, Cesar comes to you and says, I got this idea. Let's grow marijuana. And you said...
Well, actually, what set it into motion was the signing of the Farm Bill in December 2018.
Right.
And that is when we both basically got together at the same time and said, hey, now is the time to jump into this.
Really? Okay, so what did the Farm Bill actually do?
What it did, it took this crop, this hemp, where all CBD comes from.
Right.
That's another cannabinoid similar to THC, except it does not get you high. Before the signing of that Farm Bill and the updating of federal regulations, that was considered a controlled substance, just like heroin or cocaine.
So the Farm Bill, not decriminalized, but the Farm Bill made it able for you to harvest it.
Yes, the U.S. has long been the largest importer of this crop, but it's been restricted on the cultivation of it, and some of the states have developed a research program starting in 2014, and some states have been doing this 4 or 5 years. This past year was the first year that Arkansas had their regulations online.
Really? Well, and I mean, just to go back, hemp actually was used for making ropes for the last 1,000 years. It goes back for forever. Mm-hmm. And I know in World War II, when there was shortage of things, they would use hemp rope and wherever they can to do it. So the Farm Bill allowed us to start farming it, but how do you make that transition to a consumer product?
Mm-hmm. So that's what we do at the CBD tasting room. We have a processing facility there, and there we extract all of our rosin from our flower, and using nothing but heat and pressure. It's a solventless process.
Really?
And it's a very, very clean, organic method to be able to extract the rosin from the flower.
Now, when I'm hearing organic, and it's a big term for a lot of people.
Process.
But my point, so there's no pesticides used in the process? You don't, wow, really?
Yeah, so everything going on at our farm is 100% organic practices.
So, but and I'm just going to translate. In Arkansas, you got bugs, which means you have loss sometimes.
There is.
But that's just part of being organic, right?
That's part of the
So who comes in and knocks on the door and goes, I can't wait to get me some CBD oils here in the village? There's a bunch of old hippies? No, what is it?
You have a little bit of everything. You'd be amazed. Everybody that comes in has their own ailment, has their own problems, or they have something they want to be fixed. And
well, the stereotype would be, I'm a golfer and my back hurts or something like that. Is that a legitimate thing?
Yeah, we see golfers, we see people that are playing tennis that have aches and pains, but we see a little bit of everything. We have people that have just gone through surgery. We have people that have cancer. We have people that are high anxiety.
Really?
People that can't sleep.
Well, now see, I think, and not to get too techie into it real quick, and I don't, because I don't know the material, but I thought of THC would affect anxiety or distress or whatever, but the CBD oils affect that also?
The CBD, the CBG, CBN, we have many cannabinoids that can help tremendously with numerous ailments for sure.
Something that really sets our process apart from really how any of this is made across the country is most of the extraction processes to get the CBD from the plant material involves introducing a solvent like ethanol to the plant material.
Evaporate that off.
Evaporate it off, and you're left with basically a black sludge.
Which doesn't sound terribly organic.
Correct. And even though I believe in the process of science and that you're going to boil that stuff off and then you test it for residual solvents, but we wanted to take a different path. I lived out in Colorado for 5 or 6 years, and I began to use some of these products in the dispensaries out there to treat my Crohn's disease.
Oh, wow.
I've been wanting to get away from some of the prescriptions like Remicade and Humira that have all these other collateral damage associated
Nasty side
with
effects.
it. Yes.
Right.
And I saw solventless as being a long trend. I mean, a lot of the popular concentrates you see in dispensaries are extracted with butane, propane, hexane,
Nasty
and
stuff.
a lot of anes.
Yeah, well, and basically carbons.
Yes,
You want the carbons to
hydrocarbons.
evaporate off, and
Yes.
theoretically, there's none of those left in the product.
Correct.
No, there's
Sounds
some
great,
left.
right?
But also, what happens in, say, ethanol extraction or supercritical CO2 extraction is you strip out those terpenes. And terpenes are something that they're also chemical compounds.
Right.
They're what gives the taste and the smell to cannabis.
Oh.
And customers are really starting to realize the benefits of those.
Do they have a medicinal effect? Or
They
is it-
do.
Oh, yeah.
And
Really?
so
Yep.
you have some that are more present in the plant than others, like myrcene or linalool and limonene.
Yeah,
And
Are we talking about trace amounts or just significant amounts enough to make a difference?
so 1 gram of our rosin that we use to make our products
1
with,
gram.
1 gram of it
Would
tests.
is that less than a BB?
It would be about a quarter size.
About a
of
quarter size, but
sap.
maybe very flat.
Yes.
Right, okay.
But our rosin in its pure form, it tests in between 7 and 8% terpenes. So it
Really?
takes almost 2 full grams to get our 1,000 milligram bottle of CBD.
Gotcha.
There's going to be 125 milligrams of pure terpenes in that. So that's what makes it a very unique.
And so, had
product.
it been distilled with a solvent, those would have evaporated off to the,
The
most
majority of
Yes,
them. Yeah.
Really?
if they did not reintroduce terpenes back
part.
into it.
If you'll forgive me a moment, and I'm gonna address for our common viewer here, who is the Village are wonderful people simply because I know of their intelligence and how they do things, but at the same time, a couple of guys that how do I know what you know? Well, give me a little background from you, Mr. Cesar. How would you know these things?
Just from my background, I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer by trade, and I've worked for General Motors, I've worked for Tesla, ran my own business in Mexico. I've been around the block a little bit, as well as David. David has some great background, great experience. He's going to be able to tell you guys. But we've done our homework, we've done our research. We know
Clearly.
our products.
Yeah.
We know what we're working with, and we're learning every day. We never stop learning. We just continuously are doing market research. We're always looking for the next cutting edge, but we're also very, very strong about our product, and we feel comfortable with that. Our product is one of the best products out there, and the way we're producing it, very, very clean.
Well, we've got to take a break in just a minute, but David, tell me about your background. How did you get into this? I mean, what's your technical background?
Well, I graduated from Jesseville, and
Which was a great start. That was all you
Yes.
needed, right? Right?
Yes, Jesseville Lions, class of 2003.
Go Lions.
And me and my brothers, we have a business that employs a lot of people out by the village,
Mm-hmm.
Community Connect Marketing. But as far as my background that got me into this, it's really my personal journey, my health journey.
Oh, really?
That's what that's what was able to get me off. Plant-based medicine was able to get me off some of these other drugs that I mentioned.
So a lot of
And-
self-earned credit, if I should, about how we.
Well, I became a true believer, and so I know this stuff works, and
No one had to testify. Pull your mic up just a little
Sure.
closer. That's okay. No one had to testify to you and try to convince you of the efficiency of the
that's
efficacy.
correct. And I'm an evangelist for it. I mean,
bet.
I think that what you're seeing with this is that's what people want. They want to use this plant, not get high,
Right.
and get off their prescriptions. So that's what the potential is.
We have a great guy that works here on the show with us, and wonderful. And I said one time, I said, well, those are nasty side effects. And he said, there aren't any side effects. They're all just effects. You can't take one medicine and say, okay, this is going to help my headache. Well, it's going to lower your blood pressure. It's going to,
You're so right on that.
everything has so many pieces that affect it.
Unfortunately.
Tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with Village Venues in just a minute.
Thank you for watching Hot Springs Village Venues. Please stay tuned and follow us on Facebook to see the next episode.